Hey everybody, Dave Isaacs back with you for jamplay.com, and in this lesson we're going to explore a movable scale form that's going to bring us from the open position all the way up the neck to the 7th, 8th, and 9th frets. So let's get to it. It goes like this. This is an E minor pentatonic scale. E is the root note, our musical home. Pentatonic, meaning that it's a 5-tone scale. Minor, because it has a minor tonality. Here's the first piece of it, the first 5 notes. Which then cycles again. And for the purposes of this lesson, I'm only going 2 notes beyond there. That's really for the sake of simplicity and keeping the fingerings within the sort of thing that we've been doing up to this point. Now you may notice that I'm using the glide shift. That means keeping the finger on the string, not necessarily maintaining pressure, although we're getting into an area where you could and really hear slides there instead of just moving from note to note, and I'll show you the difference. But basically the glide shift is, to review, finger comes down on the string, release the pressure but maintain contact, use the arm to move you up to the target note. So again, watch the entire movement. So in this case, we're starting with the open E string, index finger on the 3rd fret, ring finger on the 5th fret, and then the glide shift up to the 7th fret. Here's what it would sound like as a slide, where I'm maintaining pressure. Which is a great effect. For simplicity's sake right now, I want you to make sure you do practice the glide shift. You're going to need to be able to use that as well as the sliding sound. So do it both ways. But here we are. Open, 3rd, 5th, glide. Now again, we're going to use the index and ring fingers. Index goes to the A string, 5th fret. Ring finger, A string, 7th fret. Same 2 fingers continue on. D string, 5th fret. A string. D string, 5th fret. D string, 7th fret. Here's our next glide shift from 7 to 9 on the D string. Continuing to the G string, once again, index ring. Fret 7, fret 9. That completes 2 octaves of the scale. Notice same basic musical pattern in what we would call 2 different pitch registers, lower and higher. And then again, for the purposes of this exercise, I've added another high minor 3rd, just a little touch of theory. The 3rd note of the scale is always the one that gives you the distinction between major and minor. This note. Here's the scale with the slides. And then coming back down, here I am on the 3rd string, 9th fret. This time instead of index ring, it's just ring index. D string, same thing. And this time I'm going to use the index to glide down. Then moving to the A string, ring finger 7, index finger 5, moving to the E string, ring finger 7, index finger 5, glide down with the index, release. So once again, all the way up, all the way down. Glide to 7. Glide to 9. Glide to 5. glide to 3. Now, if you take a look at your PDF, I'm going to go through the exercise here, which is basically what we just did with some variations to make it a little bit melodic. And you'll notice that the glide shifts are indicated by a line connecting the two notes in the tab. You might see that line as a straight line, sometimes it might be at a diagonal, but that always does mean to move along the string, to shift or slide. In many tabs, there is a difference. The shift will be the straight line, and the slide will be the diagonal. So there is a distinction there often. Here's the exercise. Couple of small details. If you look at the end of the second line, we have a free finger shift as we come down. This is the next to the last measure, really the last measure of tab because the last one's blank, but 5, 3, 0, and then jumping to fret 7. Again, a free finger shift because we're not maintaining contact. The second half, starting on the third line, does move up and down a little bit more, and what I'm going to do this time is play it leaving a little bit of space between the musical ideas so you can start to hear this as music and not just as finger patterns. So I'm starting from the third line of the exercise. Notice the repetition of the da-da-dee-da-dum rhythm, both going up and coming back down, and the shape of the line in terms of the rise and fall of pitch. It's balanced, ba-da-dee-dum going up with then da-da-dee-dum coming down. When we start getting into improvisation, really making up your own lines, this idea of balancing between short phrases answering each other and the idea of line moving up versus line moving down becomes very important to musicality and phrasing, and that's something that we'll get into in a subsequent lesson. So this is not a particularly challenging exercise, but the information here is really, really important. And getting up into these upper regions of the neck really move you into the next level of guitar playing. So have fun with this one. You can break it down into small individual pieces, and you will find that a lot of these patterns are going to show up in countless songs. It's very useful. It's very powerful. Have fun with it, and I'll see you at the next lesson.